Hello everybody, and welcome to Lions Television. My name is Nick Curdy, and today we're going to be looking at the biggest Halloween events in the past decade and current preparations leading up to this weekend. Joining me tonight as co-anchor is Balzabar Clark, a three-time winner of the Transl Jersey Sharp Fang Award for Halloween broadcast presence. He is recognized not only for his impeccable delivery, but also for his unnerving ability to maintain eye contact with viewers long after the camera cuts away. Balzabar's work has been described as haunting, hypnotic, and a creepy vibe that keeps viewers on the edge of their seats and glued to their screens, whether they want to or not. Balzabar, it's great to have you here tonight.
It's great to be here tonight. I love watching the news and seeing what's happening in Transl Jersey. I love everybody in the States, and I would never hurt anyone.
Well, nobody said you were going to, B-Dog. Now, whether you were hiding from haunted marionettes or just trying to survive the pumpkin pandemic of the Big 19, there's no denying one thing when it comes to Halloween around here. Normal is overrated. Now, for the story that has been digging into everyone's necks. A vampire has gone rogue, as numerous reports of missing people keep coming in at night. While the whereabouts are unknown, it is important to the citizens of Transl Jersey to report any suspicious behavior. Please, if the rogue vampire is watching this cast right now, we beg you to stop and turn yourself in. Now for a decade roundup of the happenings all over Transl Jersey. It all started with the infamous bunny teeth incident in 2015 when over 3,000 residents of Transl Renton mysteriously lost their two front teeth after eating candy distributed by the local Ghostface Association. The association swore the candy was safe despite its label reading experimental chewing enhancement and not for mortals. That same year, the town of Bisignaro Falls accidentally summoned a goblin weatherman named Jimbo during a pumpkin carving contest. He stayed there for 3 weeks, judged a nighttime pie-eating competition, and then returned to a hole in the graveyard 2 miles away, leaving behind only the smell of lime and the faint sound of his beheaded victims. But these days, he's LTV's fill-in weatherman. Now to you, Jimbo!
Thank you, Nick and Balzabar. Tonight's forecast for Transl Jersey, we are expecting bloody rain in Transl Renton. Yes, actual blood with a 100% chance of people checking their necks a little more closely. Cursor County will have gusts of wind strong enough to blow your rooftops off, so do not go home. And over in Brewing, the fog is so thick that even ghosts and goblins are getting lost. Visibility is about as bleak as a vampire's conscience. Stay inside or don't. Depends on if you want to meet the vampire killer lurking outside. Back to you, Nick and Balzabar.
Wow, thanks, Jimbo. Great to know we're in for some real chills.
A true seasonal disaster in the making.
In 2020, at the height of Jello 19, Transl York's Elite hosted the now permanently banned Masquerade of Woe, a Halloweekend party aboard the J.P. Morgenstein ferry by the Sudson Bay using questionable counterfeit permits. The event featured controversial celebrities, real jellyfish, mer people, and the ghost of Manhattan, creating a drowning spectacle. Now, no one knows exactly what happened after midnight, but the ferry was found broken into 3 pieces afloat the next day, and somehow all the guests were asleep in their respective cabins or knocked unconscious by the rails. However, all guests were safe and there were no casualties. Also, convicted celebrities were all sent back to prison right before paparazzi could catch them. However, the bodies of everyone who attended the party were either missing their lower halves or were fully covered in bluish-green gills.
At least they got to see the afterlife before it got too crowded.
You kill me, Balthazar.
Is that a request, Nicholas?
I don't think they're really dead now, if you ask me personally. I think they're petrified into sleep.
Whatever you say.
Now, of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention one of last year's most disturbing series of events unfolding on Halloween Day. Because last year, an apple orchard ensued one of the strangest public health incidents in Transl Jersey history. I'm talking, of course, about the Buring Apple Picking and Picnic Festival, now infamously called the Crunchening. It started off like any other fall event: hay bales, loose goblins, inflatable toenail clipping filled bounce houses, and face paint galore. It did start innocently enough, as it did for the past 950 years or so, but by sundown, children started biting into the festival's signature, bright red, pesticide-free apples. But this time, the label that's always on every apple with, quote, mostly not cursed, wasn't on it. And what followed was a little weird. By Monday, every single kid who ate those apples went to school completely normal. Well, until the homeroom bell rang. That's when they all got up from their seats, held hands in each row, started demonically chanting the same thing in unison in every classroom. Eyewitness reports recount it be something like, "Come play with us," over and over again in perfect harmony and perfect eye contact with their teacher, never blinking.
Ah, how marvelous. Like a choir of infantile chaos, no?
Teachers reported students crawling backwards down the halls. Some were just standing in the corner of the classrooms whispering the plot of the Toy Story trilogy. One middle school teacher opened a lunchbox with nothing in it but a yellow post-it note that read, "Come play with us, Miss Fletcher, forever and ever and ever." So it was pretty hard to make out the words at first though, because it was squiggly and written like a child.
Pulitzer, of course.
At least 13 faculty members from the same middle school sprinted out, and the nearby high school completely emptied of children, completely barefoot, and they were last seen boarding a bus going to Tramp, Alabama. They were never heard from again.
A missing gym teacher left a whistle behind. I wear it sometimes.
To this day, no one's still sure what was actually in those apples. All we know is that every person who took a bite of their respective apples was back to normal by the time the final bell rang, wondering where their teachers were. The next day, different teachers were hired from the nearby county.
Change is different. Different lasts.
Whatever you say, Bulbasaur. Now, we're gonna cut to Jimbo, who's outside our headquarters reporting on the live status of the weather. Back to you, Jimbo!
Thank you, Nick. I'm still in the studio because the vampire killer is still out there, and the last time you sent me outside, I lost a limb and a pack of rattles took over the weather cam. I'm still recovering. Now, we already talked about the bloody rain over in Transvaal, Jersey, but folks, it started. I'm looking at it right now through the studio window at my right, and let me tell you, it's not misting, it's pouring. It's dark red, it's thicker than water. That's no cranberry juice, I tell you. And I just saw a pigeon try to fly through it, and now it's spinning in circles and pooping like crazy. I didn't even know birds could have diarrhea. I'll update you as things progress, but Nick, keep a close eye on Balzabar. He keeps staring at me like I owe him candy. Back to you, Nick and Balzabar.
Ew, dude, go clean that up! But thank you for the weather commentary. Meanwhile, as Jimbo mentioned before his puking, the search for the missing vampire killer is still in full swing, with a murderer rumored as an alleged news anchor hiding within the media in brazen daylight. But can you imagine someone doing that? Apparently, there's an anchor here that could be a serial killer. Now, Balzabar to Balzabar, what do you think?
Dearest Nicholas, some stories are better off left unfinished. You know, this time of year, the veins grow thin, making anyone subject to their wrath. Perhaps it's symbolic that their victims disappear and reappear changed forever. Some go into the workforce. Some get driven into madness. I wouldn't trust anyone with fangs. I bear you.
You kid too much, man. Although, I am gonna say, you do look kind of pale, and your teeth, I don't know, they kind of look sharper than I thought they were. And wait, now that I mention it, you kind of keep looking at me with your mouth open, and are those fangs?
Relax, Nicholas. I never bite. My dialogue is